In the last movie, we found a couple of problems that you may have not anticipated when handling click events. Now, our project is about allowing the user to pick through a series of art pieces to the one that they like. So, for example, if they like this duck right here, they click on these other ones and they get rid of the ones that they don't want until they get the one that they do want. Now, one of the problems was that if I click on this last one, it gets rid of it. And in reality, I wanted to sort of give me a message here and not get rid of the last image. So we need to fix that. And the other problem was that if we clicked on a couple of pieces and it removed a couple of them, if we click on this area right now, it's going to get rid of the whole art element. That's because our code says that if we click on anything that has the grid class, it needs to get rid of that element's parent. Now, if you remember, our HTML page has list items that are all contained in this unordered list right here. What this means is that if we click on anything, including the unordered list, it's going to fire all these events right here. So when we're in this scenario, if we click on this right here, it's going to get rid of the parent of the UL, which has most of our content. So that's not good. So let's go ahead and fix those problems. The first thing we're going to do is add a call to the console to log our event target, because I want to show you something about the event's target. So I'm going to save that and come back here and refresh. And I'm going to pull up the console, just right click and inspect element. I'm using Google Chrome right here. You want to be on this console tab. And I'm just going to click on this element right here. So notice that when I click on that, the element that's the target is the image. Now, if I come right here and I click again, notice that now the target is the on-order list, and that's not what we want. So let me go back here and actually do a console dir. That's a slightly different command, and refresh this page. Click on this because that dir command is going to give us the object itself. If we look at the properties of the image element, you'll notice that we have a lot of useful things right here, including this node name called img. And also, there's something called a tag name right here, which is the name of the tag that I clicked on, which is img. So I'm going to use this property to make sure that it only executes the code if I'm clicking on an image. Let's go back here, and we'll do an if statement. And we'll say if e.target.tagname triple equal, and then img, and this needs to be capitalized because it's capitalized in that other place. Then we're going to open some conditional code, and we'll just place all our commands within that. So what this will do is it's only going to execute this code if the target of what I clicked on happens to be an image. So you can go ahead and get rid of this right here. Save this, come back here, refresh, and now when I click on these, it'll get rid of them. And if I happen to click on an area that would contain that unordered list, it's not going to do anything. So I can click right here and nothing happens. Perfect. Now we need to fix the other problem, which is I can get rid of the last image, which is not what I want. So let's go back. And for that, we'll need another conditional statement. So we'll come back here. Let's go ahead and give ourselves some breathing room right now. We need to create a variable that's going to keep track of how many elements we have right now. To do that, we'll go ahead and set the how many variable to be equal to the this object, and we'll use query selector all in this case and ask for any list items without this element. This element is going to happen to be the node that we're on. So it's going to include anything that's related to the event that I'm currently on. So in other words, it's going to include the unordered list. And we can console that if you want to. Let's try that in a second. And we'll ask for its length. So let's go ahead and console log, and we'll do this just to see what this means in this context. So let's go back here, refresh, and click on that. And notice that it's given us the unordered list. Why? Because that's the event that was caused by this listener right here. All right, so we just say, okay, this, and then use query selector to find any list items inside this element. They get me the length of all of them. In other words, it's going to count how many list items we have. And since we remove one right here, next time I click on something, it's going to know how many list items we currently have. So then we use another if statement. We just say if how many is more than one. If we have more than one of these, then we want to execute the following, which is our happy little code right here. Okay, so let's try that out. So come back here, refresh, close this out. We'll click on a few of these and see if we can get rid of the last one. So now when I try to click on this, it says, hey, we have only one of them, so don't execute that code. That's pretty good, but I want to modify this paragraph right here to give the user a little bit of feedback as to what they've picked. Let's go ahead and do that. Come back here and we say else, which means if this is the last thing that you clicked on, then I'm going to create a variable here called photo title, and I'm going to make that equal to the event target and then find the alt tag of that target. Remember, our target is going to be an image, and images have an alt property, which is the text that describes the element that I clicked on. And then what I'll do is I'll say document.querySelector. And then what I want in this case is the div with a class of art and the paragraph inside that div. If you remember from our HTML, we have a div art that has the entire element, and then we've got a paragraph right here. This is what we want to replace. So back over here, art P, and then we want to change the inner HTML. This is another property of that element. And then just say something to the user like, you've picked, and then tell them which element, which we stored in the variable called photo title. So plus photo title, and then we'll add a paragraph tag here. We'll go ahead and close it here, and we've already started it up here. So that'll close out the paragraph, and we'll save this. Let's refresh this page and just pick a piece of art that we like. I really love these water art. There's another one right here. I'll pick that one instead. So we pick the last one, click on it, and our paragraph now changes, and it tells us which art piece we've picked. That's working pretty well. Let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I always like to add comments to these because it's a little bit hard when you come back into code to figure out what you did. So this is my how many statement. This is check to see that I clicked on image only. And this is our event. All right, so whenever you work with events, you'll find that it's not just about handling the click itself. It's about taking care of the whole interface of what you're working with.